Everyone thinks to prove someone wrong, you disappear for 2 years and come back with a six-pack, a Lambo, and a new girlfriend. I want to be honest with you before I say anything else. I've spent real chunks of my life living inside that exact daydream. There was a version of me that did almost everything. The gym, the early mornings, the projects, with one face sitting in the back of my head. Someone who doubted me, and every rep, every late night, some part of me was rehearsing the moment they'd finally see it and feel stupid. I don't think I'm alone in that. If you're watching this, there's probably a face in your head too. A parent, an ex, someone who laughed when you said what you wanted, and you've got a quiet little movie running where you show up change and they'll finally get it. I'm not going to sell you that movie. Stick with me for a few minutes, because I think the movie is the exact thing keeping you stuck, and I'm going to show you what is actually underneath it. Here's the first thing no one says out loud. The person you're trying to prove wrong forgot about you. Not in a cruel way, they just have their own life, their own noise, their own people to worry about. That thing they said that's been living in your chest for months, they forgot about it the same afternoon they said it. You've been building a case, gathering evidence, getting ready to fight the big day in court, but there's no court, there's no jury. The seat you've been performing for has been empty the entire time. Sit with that, because it quietly changes everything. The reaction's never coming, then it's just you, alone, doing the thing, and it's not cinematic. There's no music, no montage. It's you at 6 a.m, tired, doing the same boring rep you did yesterday that nobody saw and nobody's going to clap for. Some mornings you'll wonder why you even started, because the person it was all supposed to be for isn't watching and probably never cared. Then comes the part that takes people out. The anger runs dry. When you start, you're furious, and that's fuel. You can ride it for a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, but anger burns fast and it burns dirty. And one day you wake up and you're just not angry anymore. The fire's out and there's a pile of ash where your reason used to be. That's the morning most people quit. Not because they failed, because the only thing holding them up was the rage. And when it left, there was nothing underneath. And here's the one that really stings. And I'll say it because everyone else dances around it. The people who doubted you were probably right about who you were when they said it. You weren't the finished version yet. They clocked something real and it hurt because it was true. I know, that's a lot of dark in a row. I promise I'm getting somewhere with it. Because once I sat in all that, the empty courtroom, the dead fire, the comment that was kind of true, I realized the whole thing was built on one broken idea. And it's the same idea quietly running most people's lives. You handed the verdict on who you are to someone else. That's the actual disease here. Not laziness, not lack of discipline. You took the single most important question, am I worth anything? Can I actually become something? And you outsource the answer to a person who isn't even in the room. You signed a contract that says, I'll feel okay about myself the day they admit they were wrong, and they never signed it back. They don't even know it exists. You're waiting on a verdict from a judge who left the building years ago. So no wonder it feels empty. You can win every single day and still feel like you're losing, because the scoreboard you keep checking belongs to someone who stopped keeping score a long time ago. Here's the turn. It's quieter than the fantasy, but it's the only version that holds. The work was really never about them. It can't be. They're not here. What's really happening on all those boring mornings is that you're slowly becoming a person who doesn't need the verdict anymore. And the day you notice you've stopped checking for their reaction, the day proving them wrong just quietly stops mattering, is the win. Not the moment they see you, the moment you stop needing them to. And there's something almost freeing buried in the bleak part once you flip it. If nobody's watching, then nobody's grading you either. You get to take the work back. You get to do it for reasons that hold weight when you're tired, because you said you would, because you want to see what you're capable of, because future you has to live in the body and the life you're building right now. Those reasons don't run out the way that anger does. They're cold, and they're quiet, and they're yours. So what do you do with this? Let me give you a few real things. First, catch yourself performing. Next time you're grinding and you feel that little movie start up, the one where they finally see you, just notice it. Name it. I'm performing for someone who isn't here. You don't have to fight it, just catch it. It loses most of its grip the second you see it clearly. Second, move the scoreboard inside. Stop measuring against their imaginary action and shrink it down to something only you can see. Did I do the thing today? Yes or no? That's the only column that matters now, and you're the only one who marks it. If you're someone who likes tracking numbers, good. Point that at your own progress instead of their opinion. Third, do one rep with literally nobody watching on purpose and notice that it still counts. That's the whole muscle we're building. The thing that stays real even when there's no audience. Because there's never going to be an audience. There's just the work and whether you become someone you respect doing it. I'll be honest. This is the stuff I'm still bad at. I started a channel that nobody's watching, and the only way through the early parts is me learning to enjoy making the thing itself. The writing, the editing, and the boring 3 AM render. Instead of refreshing the view count, waiting for someone to validate it. The work became the point, or there was no point. So here's where I'll leave you. The people who doubted you might have been right about who you were. The only thing you get to decide is whether they're still right 2 years from now. And you'll decide that alone. In the dark, on 100 mornings nobody will ever see. But you won't be deciding it to win an argument with them anymore. You'll be doing it because somewhere in the middle of all that quiet, boring work, you became someone who doesn't need to win it. And that person, the person who stopped needing the verdict, is free in a way the guy with the six-pack and a Lambo never got to be. That's the real version. Nobody claps for it, you ain't either, most days. But you'll know. I want to hear from you in the comments. Who's the face in the dark in the back of your head? And be honest, are you still doing the work for them? Or have you started doing it for you? Sometimes just writing it down is the thing that snaps you out of it.